Last year, developer Harebrained Schemes announced their intention to return to the long-abandoned Shadowrun property. After a successful Kickstarter campaign, this is the result: Shadowrun Returns. Shadowrun Returns thrusts you into a bizarre conspiracy by virtue of a contract with a murdered ex-partner. After rolling a new character in Shadowrun's cyber fantasy future, you can pick a class, or you can walk into Shadowrun Returns' progression system without a safety line to guide you. The game runs on karma, which is awarded for completing objectives, and different skills often allow you to solve problems via conversation options or more duplicitous means, and this adds to the various interactions that you'll find around the Seattle sprawl. Sometimes that interaction is as basic as isometric turn-based combat. Some classes tend towards guns or melee combat, and others employ magic, drones, or shaman powers to inflict damage, to heal their teammates, or to otherwise influence the battlefield. Shadowrun Returns actually does a pretty good job of building power sets for each class that seem viable. No one can survive alone, and there's almost always a party to back you up, but I don't think I ever felt helpless with my main character. Combat is only part of Shadowrun Returns' means of interaction with the world, and the isometric environments are full of clues and terminals to be clicked on and examined. Most of those environments are also full of people, and how you've built your character can make a pretty big difference in how those conversations and the consequences therein play out. All of this helps inspire this sense of malleability and possibility to Shadowrun Returns, even as the game fails to follow through on a lot of the potential that it has. There's an impression of depth in mechanics and fiction that the first episode of Shadowrun Returns builds, but it never quite lives up to it. Shadowrun suggests a side quest system, for example, but if you blink just once during the game, you might miss it. The few chances Shadowrun Returns takes to adventure outside of the main story offer a taste, but Shadowrun Returns kept me on a short leash. The story of the Dead Man's Switch is as linear as an action game outside of the few opportunities for side quests. There's not a lot of chances to earn extra money, which means there are not a lot of chances to buy new implants or weapons, or even better hirelings. The gear situation might be as indicative as anything of how shallow Shadowrun Returns can be. There aren't many tiers of weapons or armor or spells, whether magical or virtual, and the ones that are there seem to really cleanly break the game into 3 specific acts. Worse, Shadowrun's save system sucks. There is no manual saving. It's a weird screw you to the idea of experimentation almost everywhere in the game, because experimenting could cost you half an hour or more of your time. These problems are tolerable because Shadowrun Returns' world and the meta-narrative is so seductive. It was deeply satisfying to peel away the layers of Shadowrun's fiction, courtesy of characters that are fleshed out well enough to keep the world together. Shadowrun Returns has some strange omissions, and it often blinks in the face of its own potential, but almost everything you do in Shadowrun Returns does an admirable job of giving you just a hint of something more, of peeling the curtain back just a little further. I'm hopeful about the possibility for more.